Right guys, so today I am back with another course and we are going to talk about trendline. Agenda for today is we are going to talk about what is a trendline, the different types of trendlines, functions of trendline, how to draw trendlines, factors that make a trendline strong, and some of the trendline mistakes that you don't want to make. So what is a trendline? If you know support resistance, it is almost the same thing as that. A trendline is a support resistance that is not flat but it is slanted. In a good bullish trend, price would retrace along the way during the bullish trend, which is normal, and the price would retrace to a point where it's going to bounce off, and this is hence your trend line. So to put it simply, you can say that a trend line is a slanted support resistance. And also something a little bit more different as compared to the normal support resistance is that as the trend progresses, you need to constantly adjust it. So it is a work in progress until the trend line is confirmed. So how do you know whether a trend line is confirmed or not? This is the first point of touch, second point of touch. When it comes to the third point of touch, then this is where the trend line is so-called confirmed. Then any breakout below the trend line would potentially cause the bullish trend to end. So a trend line can come in many different forms, but let's just make life simple, okay? We classify it into two main types. The first type is you can classify it based on the direction. Just now I showed you one trend line, and that is the bullish trend line. And for a bearish trend, you can draw a bearish trend line which slopes downwards. The second way you can classify a trend line is length. So you have long and short. I mean, you have major trend lines, minor trend lines. So the question is, which one is a better trend line? Later on, I'll give you the answer. Alright, so we gotta talk about what is the function of trend lines. So the first function is it helps you determine when a bullish trend, reverse. When is a bullish trend going to reverse into a downtrend? When is a bearish trend going to reverse into a bullish trend? And also along the way in the bullish trend, you would have minor retracements. So once the price retraces, alright, you can more or less tell, okay, it will bounce off from here, and then the price goes up again, and the price retraces, and more or less tell with the trend line, you can tell that it bounces off from here. And a lot of people use that as an entry point, so it can, in a way, tell you places where you can enter, whether it's a buy or sell. Next thing is, it indicates momentum of the trend. Because you know there are strong and weak trend lines. If you draw a trend line and you realize that this trend line is not that strong, then it also tells you that the momentum of this trend that you're trading in is not that strong. It's going to run out really fast. And of course, for some people, they would use it as a point to put their stop loss. So some people, they are going to put their stop loss below the trend line or above the trend line, depending on which direction you're trading at. Because we are drawing this so-called indicator out rather than having the software, just plot the RSI chart for you. Right now we have to draw ourselves with absolute precision. You can say like, Karen, I'm creative. My trend line is the most beautiful trend line. Nobody can draw trend line better than I draw trend line. Even though there are many ways you can draw a trend line, but there are some guidelines you need to follow. Like I said just now, you need at least 3 points for it to confirm. So let's say you have a bullish trend over here. There are two types of trend line you can draw here. Major trend line or minor trend line. If you look at the big picture, you have the bullish trend. You can draw the trend line like that, where it tests the price 1, 2, 3 times. Any other way you can draw that, you can also draw it based on these few points. So you can kind of see that the price came down here and then bounced off these 2 points. So like that is a potential trend line. Over here, like that is a potential trend line. Like that as well. Alright, then the question is, how many trend lines do you need? And which are the trend lines that you should focus on drawing and then ignore the not so good trend lines that are just a waste of time? There's a lot more ways you can draw it. Like you can, oh, there's a few more touch points here and then okay, right here as well. How about here? Yep. You want to play some tic-tac-toe? I'll play with you right now. Only draw the good quality trend lines, the high probability trend lines. Then the rest, just ignore it. So then the question is, what is a high quality trend line? Later on, I'm going to talk more about that. The general rule, make sure you have 3 touch points. And when it does touch the trend line, it doesn't have to be exact. The candles can pierce through a little bit, but not too much. This means that you just gotta draw the best fit line. The line that touches the most points. It's okay if some of the points doesn't touch the trend line. It's okay as long as you meet this criteria of 3 touch points. So to put it simply, for an uptrend line, you draw your trend line below, just like this. And then, for a bearish trend, you will have to draw it on the top, just like that. And my line is straight. So same thing with bearish trend, you can also find a lot of places where you can draw minor trend lines. You know what I'm saying? Like if the price comes and tests this place again and again and again, you can draw a lot of minor trend lines. If you look long enough, you will find it. But the question is, should you draw it? When we say a trend line is very strong, it means that the breakouts would be stronger. You know what I'm saying? It's going to last longer, it's going to give you more pips. To increase the probability of making money using trend lines, you gotta apply it in the right kind of market conditions. Now this is called a trend line, it's not called a range line, it's not called a volatile line. So this means that you gotta apply it on a trending market. Preferably a trending market that is not too volatile, because sometimes even for trending markets, you see volatile trending markets, calm trending markets. So the ideal situation is to apply it into a calm trending market. Second way you can increase the strength of your trend line is to use it on high time frames. Okay, and then the third way you can increase the strength is to make sure that your trend line is not too steep. So if you realize the example I showed you just now, there was a major trend line, there were minor trend lines that goes like this just now, and you realize that most of the time minor trend lines, they not only last for a shorter period of time, but they are steeper. This means that the angle from the horizontal level is steeper. The angle from the horizontal level. How do you define steep? Any trend line that is more than 45 degrees from the horizontal, it is a little bit too steep. Visually, you can tell that this is more than 45 degrees. In fact, I would say it is, okay, it's not perfect, but 16 degrees, 70 degrees. So the fourth factor you need to take note of is the distance between the test points. Like I said, the further it is, the stronger the trend line. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. And of course, another thing to increase the probability is don't just rely on trend line alone. You gotta rely on other things. You gotta look at other things. For example, are you just going to buy when the price comes down and test the trend line? That's it. Oh, because it comes down and touch trend line, let me buy it. If only life was that easy. So you're gonna enter at a confluence area. Or you use candlestick confirmation. So example, if the price comes down to the trend line, okay, let me just draw it in case some people can't visualize. So let's say we have a bullish trend today. Okay, so you draw the best fit line, it touched first point, second point, and right now we are right here. But there is a problem, my friend, is that big red candle. Are you gonna enter? Or are you gonna wait? What if you wait for another day or another hour? Then a small green candle appears with a small body. Now, is it a good time? Why does it look like black color? Supposed to be green, right? That is weird. Assuming this green color, should you enter right now? The answer is yes, as compared to 1 hour ago, 1 day ago. Because if you study candlestick signals, if you paid attention during my candlestick trading course, this is a bullish pattern. To put it simply, it is bullish honey pattern. So this increases the chance that the price is going to go up after this. Of course, we can't predict. Of course, in the real markets, anything can happen. The price can break down a little bit, cheat you with a false breakout. Right now, guys, we are breaking down right now. And then you make a buy, and then the price go back up. And this is just life. This is just trading. So that's why you need to learn how to spot false breakouts, because we are using trend lines. False breakouts is quite common. But then on the other hand, sometimes the bullish trend will end and the price will break a major trend line, and then the start of a bearish trend will follow suit. So that's why for trend line, you can actually use two strategies. The first one is you buy on a retracement just like this. You can say you're trading along with the trend. Maybe I'll make a separate free course on this. Let me know if you want this. Second way you can use trend line for trading is to pick tops and bottoms to trade reversals in trends. Alright, so if you're very experienced, you pick tops and bottoms. Then when the price break a trend line, it is a confirmation that, okay, bullish trend has ended. Now it's time to sell. The first mistake you want to avoid making is no spider webs. We don't do spider webs in this community. You want to draw, you draw the best trend line. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have high standards. You cannot be like mediocre trend lines. I'm gonna draw it. Shitty trend lines. Yes, I'm gonna draw it. No. The second mistake is that a lot of traders, they get tricked. You know, guys, candlesticks trick you, chart patterns trick you, trend lines also trick you. Whenever there's a false breakout, people don't know what they don't know. When the candlestick breaks the trend line, they think that, alright, markets are here to help me make money. Learning how to spot false breakouts is just as important as learning how to trade breakouts. Learning when to not enter into a trade is just as important as learning when to enter a trade. So what is the difference between false breakouts and real breakouts? You gotta find that out. I've already done a video on that. Next common mistake. A lot of traders, They use it on the small time frames. By small time frames, I mean like M1, M5, M15, M30. Do you know what it will look like if you draw a trend line that seems like a long, high quality trend line? Let's say if you are looking at the 5-minute time frame and the chart looks like this. Looks like a nice long uptrend. Okay? And you think that this is a major trend line. You draw this beautiful trend line right here. Oh my god, it lasts so long, so long, so long. But if you zoom out to the H1 chart, would look something like this. Is this something you want to keep? I personally feel that small time frames are just noise. Like, it looks very exciting, but then good trading is not supposed to be exciting. A lot of traders, they enter when the trend line is not even confirmed yet. Like, people just can't wait. Like, they see the first touch and then they enter the second touch. Of course, once in a while it might work out, but then I would say it's a little bit more risky. And of course, with trend lines, sometimes you would need to adjust it, but then if you adjust it too many times, it's not very good for you, because as long as you have 3 touch points, then it's better to leave it as it is. Because if the price breaks downwards and you feel like you need to drag your trend line to that point, then you wouldn't know where the breakout is going to be. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know how to trade candlestick patterns, if you don't know how to read chart patterns, I've done some free courses as part of this pandemic giveaway kind of thing, so you can check it out right here. Alright, so with that, talk to you in the next video. Bye.